Okay.
Hey everybody, welcome to another exciting episode of the Over Sharon Show. We are live and my mouse just stopped working. This is amazing. Sorry we're a little late.
What a
We had
lovely day.
with the time and the link today, but I just got back from a bear meetup, so I have an excuse. But anyway, we're going to start the show like we always do. First, we'll shout out the chat. Thank you guys. You got the party going before we even started.
Thanks for waiting.
Thanks for waiting. Yes, you could blame it all on me, but I have an awesome thing to tell you about the bear meetup once we get into it. So anyway,
Oh crap. Sorry.
oh no.
Stop. Sorry. It
That's all
just
right.
automatically started on my tablet.
I don't mind at all. It was my lovely voice. So I almost fell asleep. I was like, oh, I'm enchanted. Anyway, so today's quote is, when you do things from your soul, you feel a river moving in you, a joy. And that's by Rumi. Should I say it again?
Yeah, please say it again. Sorry.
When you do things from your soul, you feel a river moving in you, a joy. And I think that's really good because we talk about intuition and listening and cultivating your intuition. So it's kind of that same thing. You feel a river moving in you. The waters of Teglin. Sorry, I've been listening to the Silmarillion again.
All right. Well, the Emperor, card number 4.
Ooh. Oh,
it's kind of hard to see. Maybe if I turn another light on. Let me see if I turn this little light on. Does that help?
Yeah. Oops, I just went to me. Sorry, everybody. Yeah, that looks good. Oh, wow, that's really interesting. It's funny because it's supposed to be an old man, but he kind of looks like a cow, like a cow with a beard, if you look at it.
Yeah, he's interesting looking. There's a lamb on the floor, too, like...
Robo Honky said, inside me are 2 rivers. One is blood and the other is piss. Shout out to Robo Honky, the funniest handle on YouTube. What's up, Zeralath? Last bitch I smashed had the Grand Rapids in her. Oh my God.
Oh my gosh.
BMI. I should read these first. What's up, the Dell Paxton? Yeah, that's a really good card. I like that. This came up in a I brought this up on a recent show that I did because we were talking about with Davin, the one I did with Davin, because we were talking about Mars and the Mars energy, because right now we're in a Mars retrograde, which everybody always talks about the Mercury retrograde, but no one ever talks about Mars. So go listen to our stream we just did right here on this channel. And we talked about how that Emperor represents a lot of the Martian stuff, the Aries, a lot of fire. And I like how they have the mountains in the background.
Mm-hmm.
Lovely. Yeah. And it's number 4.
And it's a lamb at the foot, at his feet. So like Aries, lamb, ram, etc.
Lamb of God,
Ram, the sun,
away the sins of the world.
Ram.
Have mercy on us. You used to have to
Is
sing
that a Catholic thing?
Yeah, Lamb of God, you take away the sins of the earth. Grant us peace. Yeah, I went to Catholic school for a long time, like 9 years. Yeah, 9 years.
Yeah, I never knew any of that stuff.
Oh, I have you pinned. What am I doing? Anyway.
Oh, really?
Yes. So what are we talking about tonight, Sharon?
All kinds. I mean, I would like to get an update on how your meetup was today, because it's FriendsGiving, Thanksgiving, Friendsgiving, whatever you want to call it. It's kind of all those silly names people use, but
well, it's funny because Camera Bear was saying that he thinks that the first FriendsGiving, the official one, was in 2020 at Ukrainian Bear's house. I almost said his name. But yeah, so I mean, whatever. But yeah, it was that's where it was. I was at Ukrainian Bear's house tonight, and it was a really, really good time. And I mean, the thing I just want to say, everyone there was awesome, but Falcor. So I've heard Owen talk about Falcor before, like, he's a known bear.
And, I didn't know that. I didn't know. I mean, I don't feel like I knew that name, Falcor Bear or whatever.
It's just
or
that's
not
the
Bear,
thing. It's just Falcor, which is amazing because he doesn't even have Bear in his name.
Yeah,
And
that's fine. Like the Del Paxton doesn't have a bear in his name either.
who's that guy?
Cody.
No, I'm just kidding.
Cody.
I know, I'm joking.
I know you know. For
Of
everyone in the
course, and
chat,
I'm
Cody.
gonna get to see him soon. I can't wait.
Yeah, I'm gonna go see him.
Yeah, and I get to see you, which is amazing. So
Yeah. We'll
very
get to
excited
meet
about
up
that.
with you and anyone who's gonna be there.
Yeah, so if you're going to be in Connecticut next week, let us know because you can come hiking with us. It only costs $99. Just kidding. So anyway, Falcor, I didn't know this, but him and his wife are pretty much responsible for Zentangle. I guess they started it 20 years ago, and he said that they never really advertised or anything. It was always word of mouth, and it just kind
That's
of blew up.
amazing.
And we talked about Zentangle with Michelle on our
Michelle.
show, at least. I remember
What
that. So
episode was that? Like 26 or something like that? I feel like it was like something like that.
yeah, so I can look it up over
I
chat.
can look it up right now too.
Oh yeah, okay. You look it up and I'll talk. Yeah, so it was really amazing.
Yeah,
We
it was
had some
26 with Michelle.
yeah, that I thought that sounded really familiar. I was pretty sure. Maybe I can use your bathroom because mine is demolished, he said
Are you talking about Brandon's
in
bathroom?
in the chat. Yeah, that's what he's saying. I only let white people use my bathroom. Sorry. I'm just kidding. Number one and number two. That's from Friday. It's a movie. He'll get it.
Oh Lord.
If
No,
anyone
he's
would want to
never
take a
watched
stick,
Friday. He never watched
he
Friday.
never.
I don't know how. I don't know how I
Ah,
watched Friday and he never watched Friday. It's weird.
wow, that's crazy.
I
No, that
know.
was a really, really. I don't know. There's something about that movie. I mean, I haven't seen
It's
it recently, but
it's pretty funny.
yeah, they did a good job. The thing is, too, I also saw it when I was on the aircraft carrier in, at sea for like a month or something in another country. So it was nice to have that humor, and it kind of felt a little familiar because I know, some of that culture a little bit, even though I'm a white guy, but it's very similar, some of that stuff. So yeah, it was just it was a good uplifting point in my life. Yeah, but anyway, dude, let's all go watch Friday. No, I don't.
He
Anyway,
says it's gay. Like the gay parade.
Friday is gay. Well, I mean, it could be, but if you haven't seen it, at least give it a chance, man. Yeah, Ice Cube's pretty gay. Oh, except for the vacuum joke. Nice. Yeah, so the meetup was pretty amazing. The food was so good. So I didn't know Maggie Plonsky was going to be there either. Plonsky Bear or whatever, Maggie Bear.
Maggie's Home Essentials. I don't know that has a bear name.
I don't think she does, but we're gonna call her Polish Soap Bear.
Okay.
Anyway, yeah, I'm just picking on her. She's really cool though. I've only seen her like in the chat and I've ordered products from her, but getting to meet her in person, she's hilarious. So it was great. Yeah, so she definitely won't mind me busting her balls a little bit. But yeah, so that was fun. Camera Bear was there with his family. That was pretty amazing. I mean, Ukrainian Bear's grandmother's awesome. She really liked my food, which I like because she's like part Italian or something. So I made some meat sauce. I got some grass-fed beef. I made some little chickpea rollatinis, and she's like, "Rollatinis are my favorite." And she was like,
I've
"Wow,
never
this
even
was
heard of
really good."
rollatinis.
It's kind of like a ziti, but it spirals. It's spiraling pasta. Oh, Jesus.
So
My
it's
my
not
rollatini.
rotini and it's not ziti, but it's rollatini. That's
Oh,
funny.
maybe it is rotini. I'm probably saying it wrong.
Oh, okay.
I always confuse all the,
I
you
don't
know,
know I didn't grow up eating pasta, so
all
I
the
don't
pastas. Yeah, no, it is the one you said it is. Rotini.
probably. But I
Yeah.
do like every once in a while having tortellini. And what are the ones that are like little pillows with cheese inside?
Raviolis.
Those are good.
Somebody said something about coconut water. I'm actually drinking boxed wine. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, it's coconut water. Albies, baby.
That would be hilarious, boxed wine in like a serving
They have
size,
it.
like
They
like that.
it comes in containers like this. Yeah, I've seen it, but they're the smaller, the
I
smaller
mean, I've seen
coconut
them in
waters.
cans, but I've never seen them like that.
Oh, I've seen them. Yeah, that's why I was like, it's
That's
boxed wine. Yeah, dude, that's so
funny. So you're thirsty, clearly.
I am still thirsty. Yeah,
So you
so
saw
go ahead.
Camera Bear. Did you talk about Camera Bear yet?
Um,
No, you
not
talked
really, but
about
I go ahead.
with Falcor. You talked about Falcor and then Maggie.
And Maggie, yeah. So I saw Cameron Bear and his family, and he has two boys and one, I think she's two, daughter, and his wife is pregnant. So he's got a great family. And I was playing with the boys. We were playing like swords. They had these they're like dusters and they extend, they're like metal, like kind of extending things like you'd think like of a selfie stick or whatever. It looks like that, but it's for a duster. So they took the duster thing off and there's like a rubber thing at the end. So we're just like sword fighting. It was hilarious. And then we were scrolling through the Beartari Times a little bit. It's so cool, like to be
How
able
old are
to.
the boys?
What's that?
How old are the boys?
6, and I think the other one's 8, but I know one is definitely 6. But yeah, I'm always not up to date on the birthdays and everything. So, but yeah, they're really cool. It was fun, and
So we're in Connecticut. Was this in Connecticut?
yeah, in Connecticut, it was like over near Clinton, Connecticut, but it's up in like a rural area, which is really nice. He's got a bunch of him, his
So
grandmother
like
got a bunch of
north of
land.
you or east of you or
It's
west?
it's northeast of me, more
Okay.
east. Like you got to go. It's about 40 minutes away, and you go about 30 minutes due east, and then you turn and you go about 10 minutes north.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Cool.
yeah,
So
it was a good time though. And then let's see what else. I'm trying to think. Oh, I met St. George Bear, who's the one who runs the one of the group chats for
recovering.
yeah, the recovery bear chat
Okay, yeah.
for people who
Something
are
like
like
that.
drinking and all, issues like that. So we had some amazing conversations too with Falcor and him because they're already friends and they're trying to incorporate a lot of this stuff because they know, like they were talking about alcoholics, how some people don't need certain things, but then some people they just really need like a support system, or something or some kind of, so it was really interesting. I'm just excited to see like all the stuff that's coming out of this and what people are talking about in the businesses. Like Maggie's got a really nice thriving business, and I guess they just shared something of hers on Instagram, I guess, or maybe it was like an
On
article she
Bertaria
wrote.
Times. It was an
Retaria
article
Times,
on
yeah.
the
Oh
yeah.
yeah, that's right. And they put it, what Camera Bear was saying was they put it on Instagram and that gets a lot of views there. So she's excited about that. She said she's telling her whole family. She's like, I'm famous now.
Aw.
Yeah.
Yeah, she posted that in the Lady Bear chat. And I mean some other people were posting it too. That he basically had done a review. I forgot the bear who did this. Was it like Purple Bear who did it?
Honestly, I don't even know. I just heard
Okay, I
her
think it
talk about, yeah.
was somebody who wrote the article had originally he wrote a post on Bertaria Times talking about some of her products and like recommending some of them or just explaining what they do for you and whatnot and how they work for him, kind of like a review of each one. And then I guess they asked him to make it into an article.
Ooh.
So it was in the bertariatimes.com as an article.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, just to be around these people who are talking about all this stuff. Karibe, she's based in Jersey. She's in New
Yeah.
Jersey. But she said it was only like an hour and a half or 2 hours for her. So to
To
get
go to
there,
Connecticut. Oh,
yeah,
okay.
and it's 40 minutes for me. So that must mean she's only like an hour, a little bit over an hour for me or something like that.
Yeah, she said she's 30 minutes away from West Orange,
Mm-hmm.
New Jersey. So I don't know. I don't know if it's south or west of that.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
not sure. New Jersey, Doity, Joyzy. I
Yeah.
know I've heard both those places, but anyway, go ahead. Yeah.
I was saying I read that article and yeah, I want to look at her website and see if there's anything because there was a couple things that he said that I was like,
I highly recommend her deodorant. Like her deodorant is amazing and the soap is really good. And also the shampoo bars. And I guess she's been making liquid shampoo, but I just use the bars that she has. But I mean, I only wash my hair now like every 2 or 3 weeks or something. It's crazy.
Okay. That's awesome.
Yeah. And I was previously like last year I was using dry shampoo and somebody made a comment maybe a couple months ago, or I don't even know now, maybe it was in the summer, but I was just like, yeah, I'm going to try to not use this and see what it's like. And it's been fine. Like I was telling Maggie, I'm like, if you need a model for your stuff, let me know. I'm like, if I brush I'm like, when I brush it out, it's crazy. I'm like, she's just laughing at me. So, I'm like, come on, you need a hair model.
Yeah. So were you using a standard version of like dry shampoo, like a powder
I
from the
was using a
store?
spray. Yeah, I was using like one of the top products because um I've used a bunch of different ones just to try to see which one would work the best. And I forget the name of it, but I used to get it at Marshall's, but it's a pretty common brand. And people are just like, yeah, there's probably shit in there. I'm like, yeah, probably. So,
Yeah, probably for sure.
but she also has hair oil. And so if I wash my hair and what I used to do, we're talking about our hair care. This is great. I used to wash my hair on like a Friday or whatever, right before when I had to like go to weddings. So now I'll do it like on a Monday or Tuesday and give it a little bit of time. But when I would do that, I'd wash my hair and it'd be kind of dry a little bit. So I use that oil that she has, a hair oil. It's amazing. Like you don't even need that much. Honestly, you put a little in your hand and it's like you put it in your hair and then you have to wash it off. Like that's how much there is on. It's lasted me a long time. It smells really good.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, shout out to Maggie and her
Yeah,
awesome products.
she's gonna love that. Yeah. Getting people to check out her products. Sweet. So
And pinball was there. Dave Pinball Wizard.
oh, I don't
He
know him.
fixes pinball machines and stuff. Yeah, he was there, and I always love to see him and his wife. They're really awesome people. So
Sweet.
he's got a show, a pinball show where they kind of also will drop some truth, but not really. They like hint at it, but they talk mostly about pinball because I guess it's like a niche community, but there's a bunch of pinball podcasts. And most of them he said are like left leaning. So his is like the only one that's not. I was like, that's awesome, dude.
Wow.
Yeah. So things are, people are out there crushing. I love it.
Yep. So,
So
anything else you want to talk about?
is there something I should be talking about that I'm forgetting?
No. I didn't have a chance to tell you, but I think I wanted to touch on the stuff that I think Owen's been talking about
Oh yeah.
Paul.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, we could talk about it. He was actually talking about it today, and he even said, he's like, you know what? He's like, I'm going to give it a rest after today. He's like, but I go after sacred cows. He's like, what do you expect from me? He's like, I'm a comedian, he's like, this is just what I do. He's like, I could talk about all this stuff, but then when I make fun of your thing, you're going to like freak out, So
Exactly.
yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, let's talk about it because I'm sure you know a lot more than the average bear.
That's funny.
I just came up with that one on the fly.
Well, let's just say that I went through my moment of doing kind of what he's doing, which is speculating on who this Paul guy was, right? And it started back in 2020, and I had watched one guy on YouTube, and he was at the time, he was like kind of Torah observant person, and he was like questioning stuff. And so he started doing I guess research on like who's the Messiah, who's Jesus, and is he what people say he is? Is this the real deal? Like, is he really the Messiah? What does that even mean? All that stuff. And so he did this deep dive study, and he came out the other end like, okay, like what I thought was true is like I'm beginning to question like Christianity and Torah observance and all this stuff. And people started flipping out because in that community, they were just like flipping out, and they were just like, how dare you? How dare you? Like, how effing dare you? And people were splitting up. Like, I was in these Discord groups, and like these Discord groups were like splitting off, and it was kind of ridiculous. This was probably through like middle to the end of 2020, maybe even the beginning of 21. Yeah, I think it was. And then like spring of 21, it was like people were just like done. Like some people were like done with that, and they're like, I'm not even going to be part of this. I want to be able to question whatever I want without somebody like telling me what to think, how I should think, all that stuff. So I was part of that kind of a split off group, and started asking questions and speculating and thinking. And but basically that video that he did, that one guy I'm telling you, his name is Justin Best, and his channel is not called Justin Best anymore. At some point he changed it several times, and at this point I don't even remember what it's called. But yeah, he's changed it multiple times. But the first video that came out was about it was like called 50 Reasons to Never Quote Paul Again. And so that began like a spiral of like questioning what was written. And the funny part is, at the end of it all, like once I was like, okay, I'm okay to question this. I don't, like I had wiped the slate clean on all this religious stuff that I was looking into, right? And I was like, yeah, I'm open to look into all kinds of stuff now. Like, I'm just open. Like, I don't want to call myself anything. After that, I guess that's around the time I met you, Brandon, and we started talking, and we started speculating on all kinds of stuff, right? So, but yeah, that was what started it for me, is like questioning Paul. But the funny part about it is, in the end, this is where I was trying to go and I forgot where I was going. I started watching stuff like Bill Donahue, and like realizing that it's, and like over time realizing that it's like astrotheological, there's metaphor, it's like, it's syncretism, dare I say. And so like, it doesn't matter if whatever Paul is saying contradicts what Jesus is saying, allegedly. In the end, it really doesn't matter, because it's all metaphor anyway. Like, at least that's how I see it. Could it be that these people in the Bible were written in as metaphor? And even if they weren't, I mean, if these people truly existed, whatever's written about them can't possibly be true to the T. Like, there's probably some meddling that's gone on with the text. So I think it's just meant to explain just life and how it should be, and like how we should think about it metaphorically versus, but I mean, also there's also an element of how to think about it and like how to treat people, right? Love God, love your neighbor as yourself. So yeah, you get that. That is like something you do. But as far as did those people really exist? Are these people really who they say they are? Doesn't matter if Paul existed or didn't exist, or if he contradicted Jesus or whatever. I don't know. I don't think so. But
exactly.
One of the funniest parts about this whole thing is that the people who were like, how dare you, like talk about Paul that way, and how dare you question the Messiah, Jesus, or whatever. they were like, everyone who goes down this Paul rabbit hole always ends up denying the Messiah. So to me, that's just really hilarious. It's like Paul is the gateway to like opening up your mind to like the fact that religion is all made up and used to control you. So if Owen is questioning Paul, I think it's kind of funny and very telling, dare I say.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally. And we had a chat with Rose 777 yesterday. Spoiler alert. So that episode's going to be coming out in a couple weeks. I was even thinking we might be able to play a clip of that tonight because I could just open the video and so we could maybe give the people a live preview.
If you want.
Sure, but let's first say how there was a part because I can't find an exact part. I'll just click on something and we'll let it play. But there was a part where we were talking about this sort of thing about, is the Bible allegory or did it really happen? Like some people are literalists. They think Jesus was somebody who existed. Some people think it's all allegory. And Rose was like, what if it's both? And I was like, I've been saying that for years, lady. But yeah, I was like, that's great. So it was a really good conversation. She's very open-minded and
yeah,
we talked about a lot of things, even some taboo subjects. It was really, really, it went really well. I love her. She's awesome.
It was awesome. We had
She's
a really
so
good time.
open-minded.
Yeah. And I mean, we were on the same page about a lot of stuff. It was just like, we get it, we all get it. I mean, we may be saying it a little bit differently than other people, but like speaking of that, we were talking about archaics and Brandon, you were saying like, I mean, I don't know if we said it there or if we talked about it off stream, but like, it's just like people, either blindfolded or in a dark room, feeling an elephant in a dark room and going, okay, this is his belly, or this is his leg, but it like they're all feeling the elephant.
I hope I got his trunk because this is one excited elephant. I hope I'm feeling his trunk or else I might have to marry this elephant. Just kidding, everyone. That's the humor I bring. Anyway, yeah, no, dude, exactly. Keep going.
No, I'm just saying we're all looking at like, okay, yes, some people like, for example, archaics will say, and speaking of which, I watched Alpha Vedic interview him this morning, and that was that was a really good summary video for anybody who's never watched archaics. That was a really good summary video where he just kind of goes through some of the research he's done. And I liked something he said at the end. He was like, if you're like not called to look at my work, don't. Like, he's like, listen to your own intuition. Like your intuition is telling you not to do something. That should be your go-to. Like, listen to yourself first. Don't listen to other people. Listen to yourself. And if you're not being called to listen to my channel or what I'm saying, don't. Maybe at some point, maybe you will come back and listen, but it's okay if you don't. Like, that's, listen to your intuition first. So I really like that he said that at the end, but it was a really good summary of like the stuff that he's talked about. And he talked about vapor canopy and timelines and things like that. So but what I was saying is that he may call it, and he reiterated that he's like, I'm only calling it a simulation because that's where I'm at. Like, that's the research that I've seen. That's what it's taken me to, but I'm not opposed to looking at it in a different light. If somebody can show me something that makes everything make sense. That's why I'm like, it would be really cool if we could talk to him. We were supposed to get him on the show, but he's just been really busy, and he takes.
I'd be like, Jason, are you a materialist? No? Okay, great. Listen to this. You know how I'm always ranting on my show about like ball earth or flat earth or simulation theory? It's all materialism. There you go. it's a spiritual realm we can't quite understand. And if you have to know what's on the outside, what's that say about you? That's all. But anyway, we should clip
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. So, you know, just because he calls it a simulation doesn't mean that you have to like not look at his information because, oh God forbid you call it a simulation.
Yeah, I think I made that case because so people who don't know, Rose and Crow, we were listening to the Wood and Nichols episode, and we could tell that a lot of people are trying to show archaics to Crow and to Jason, and I guess even to Rose. And they're just, Rose went to look into it, and she looked into it 3 times, and she just got kind of a, there was just these strikes that kept happening. But she even said, she's like, yeah, his channel blew up. That's really weird. It got huge fast. And she goes, but I still looked. And she goes, this and that, but I still kept looking. And then she just basically gave it a fair shot. And then I just said to her, I go, well, listen, I hear what you're saying about that. You can even forget him totally. I'm like, have you heard about the vapor canopy? You know what I mean? Like, have you heard this? Because it fits a lot of things in with like Tartaria or whatever's really going on, and giants,
It
and like
makes things make sense.
it does. It's that missing link. And I just focused on that.
Yeah.
And I got away from archaics, and I talked about that and then the Phoenix a little bit. But I said, though, overall, his message is great because he says, as long as you're not in despair and fear, you'll be fine. Like you just you're just gonna be. And that leads me to believe he's saying that. I don't think he's a shill, because what do we all know about shills? They're just trying to pump fear porn and sell boner pills and all this stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And he's not even trying to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
He was like he talked about on the stream with Alpha Vedic this morning that he's even putting out, he's going to put out audio of some fiction that he wrote in prison or in jail. And he's going to read the audiobooks on a new channel that he's creating.
Ooh.
And he's just going to put it out for free if anybody wants to listen. He's not even like trying to sell it or make money off it.
Yeah, and I could tell he really reinvests, because I'm sure he is making a good amount of money, but he really reinvests it. Like he bought a new studio, he totally redid his van. So it's like his all of his I don't want to say morals, but his like, it's the same as like Owen Benjamin, for example, or a lot of the Bears. Like they're building something. Like that's what Owen does with all his donations. Like he always says how he never really has a lot of cash. He's like, I'm always just putting the money into something, like infrastructure. And I feel like there's a lot of similarity there.
Yeah.
So it's great to see that. But again, like Archaic says, it doesn't matter. It's like I'm just putting the information out. People don't like me, it's fine. So there's a reason why right now it's not fitting together. The world's not ready for Crow to know about the vapor canopy yet.
Yeah, perhaps. Could
But
it be?
if it's coming, I think it is, because it's just in the ether right now. It's like the even Rose said it, like the 100 monkeys or whatever. She's like, once enough people get that information anyway, it's going to be out there. And I was like, yeah, no, she was awesome, dude. She's great.
Yeah, we had fun. Good times.
We get to talk to the best people, and I get to talk to Sharon, guys. Aren't you jealous? I get to talk to Sharon. No, but yeah, it's amazing, because I'm sure a lot of people that watch this show would love to have conversations with us because of the stuff that we talk about. Like I'm very thankful, and it's Friends Thanksgiving or Friendsgiving. So I will say, even though she's my friend, I feel like she's a sister to me. Thank you, Sharon. I have so much gratitude for you and you coming into my life and us starting the show and all the other conversations that we have about life. It's really amazing. And I'm so happy for you in your life right now. Like, I think it's amazing about you and Cody. Like it's like a miracle, it really is. All the little things that had to happen. And it's funny because when I wrote that letter to Owen, he's like, yeah, isn't that funny? He's like, how'd you guys meet? Well, there was this comedian who got kicked out. He couldn't stop saying this one word. So then I met my wife or whatever. I met my, my lover. There we go. Yeah, but you know what I'm saying? It's just hilarious. Like all the things that had to happen for that to fall into place. And when it did.
Yeah, it really is miraculous. It's amazing.
And like, this is like a story you could write a movie about. Like, we were getting together to get a band together, you know what I mean? Like, and then we went cross country and we sang at this festival, and yeah, it's like fairy tale style.
Yeah, it is totally fairy tale style. Cause like when we first met, like, I don't know, I think it was right at like the beginning of January of 2021. Yeah, we met through the Bertaria Times app, and we were messaging through there, and that's how we met. And things were friendly, but like I wasn't expecting anything because he lived out in Jersey and I lived here. So I wasn't really expecting, I wasn't being like expectations, like of anything. I was just like being friends with people. So yeah, just becoming friends and like getting to know each other better. And I could tell over time that I really vibed with him and he really vibed with me. And like, even at one point, I went back and I looked at some pictures that I had sent him for a family event. And I had told him, I had sent him some pictures, and I feel like we alluded to something like, I think he said something like, if I were there or something like that. And I said, yeah, if you were here, I would invite you. Cause like, I felt like he would vibe with my family. Like he would get along, we'd get along, they'd love him. So it already felt like that, but we were not in close proximity to like try it out, cause he was in Jersey. So, and like, there were times where he would like say like, hey, we should meet up. Maybe I come out there and, we go to a Suns game or something like that. And I'm like, okay. But like, it just never happened. So when like the Bear Fest thing came around, I was like, well, they're looking for a bass player. So if you were interested, and so, yeah,
The universe is like, dude, like how many synchronicities are like, they're looking for a bass player. You get to meet Sharon, it's like, yeah, it's well, you know what it is when you sit back and let it happen instead of try to make it happen.
Yeah, that is
And again,
definitely.
yeah, but you do obviously have to put an effort in, but what I mean is like when you stop trying to force the universe to give you what you want and just see what it has for you, and you're thankful, and the other thing is about Cody is he's hilarious.
Yeah, he is.
So that alone is just,
He makes the funniest voices. Like he'll like make fun of other people's voices. It's really funny.
oh yeah, like the Mark Passio thing, and yeah, it's great.
Yeah,
We got to
Mark
get together
Passio.
and we got to collaborate and do some voices. That'd be funny.
Yeah,
Oh,
do some
the
audios.
possibilities are endless. Yeah, it's really a great time. Like what I'm seeing now, with everyone just spiraling up, like my rotini. I wanted to say rollatini. Oh, you know what it is? Rollatini is eggplant rollatini. There we go.
Oh, what's that? I've never heard of that.
Eggplant rollatini. You never had some eggplant rollatini where you get some eggplant and you can do a rollatini.
Okay.
You take the eggplant, and I think they roll it with like regat cheese. Regat, you got to get the regat or whatever, the regatta cheese and
Ricotta, isn't it?
sauce, a little bit of tomato sauce. Yeah, I get that a lot because they have that a lot at weddings. Like some places, it's so good too. I'm just like, I think I went to one place and I'd never been there before, and they give you like this, looked like a lasagna, but it was like eggplant, and it was so good. And I'm like, can I get one of those to go? Like, they're like, sure. I'm like, oh yeah. So I
Oh,
ate it
wow.
the next day as my meal. Yeah, it was
Nothing
pretty interesting.
nice.
Must be nice. Yeah, I'm like a scavenger. I just do what I can. I got a nice plate that I'm excited about. Because the food there was so good. I know I only think I talked about my food, but the food there was amazing, and there was like really good desserts. Oh my god, it was just like, it was like a real like you would imagine like a Thanksgiving. Like it felt like a real Thanksgiving. It was amazing.
What felt like real Thanksgiving?
Oh, the Friendsgiving
Oh,
meetup.
really?
Yeah,
What did you guys eat? All
that's what I'm
kinds?
talking about. So they had turkey, sweet potatoes, regular potatoes. Maggie brought this baked corn. It was like corn, and I guess you put like butter and cream cheese, and then you put cheese on top and you bake it. And it was like really good. And what else was there? There was baked squash, it's like just a big squash cut in half, baked.
Oh,
That
okay.
was really good. There was some kind of stuffing. I didn't know what it was because it looked like it could have been bread, but I'm like, I don't think that's bread. And I ate it and it was pretty dense, and it was really good. And somebody's like, what is that? Looks good. I'm like, I have no idea, but this is great. And someone else was like, oh, that's stuffing. I was like, yeah, it's whatever. It's good. It was so funny. Like, what is that? I'm like, I have no idea, but it's delicious. You could tell me it's like pig testicles or something. I'd be like,
Oh God.
no, but yeah. And what else? Oh, and then Ukrainian bear made this dessert and he called it pigeon milk. And everyone's like, how do you make it? He's like, well, first you got to catch a pigeon, then you get two tweezers and you milk it.
Was that from like Meet the Parents?
But kind of, yeah. He's like,
Something like Meet the,
yeah, I got nipples, Greg. Can you milk me? Like, we used to
yeah,
milk the cat. Yeah, that was I can't believe you saw that. Did you see the second one?
I might have. I might have. Yeah, that is a movie I saw for
Yeah,
some
with
reason.
Barbara Streisand and
What's
Dustin
his face as the dad? Oh my gosh.
Dustin Hoffman.
Was it Dustin
Yeah,
Hoffman?
yeah, Dustin Hoffman, and
Oh yeah.
I think it was Barbara Streisand, wasn't it? Or no, I don't freaking know. But anyway,
Who?
it was
But
hilarious.
the other family, the other parents, wasn't it?
Oh, Robert De Niro.
Yes, that was
Yeah.
funny. It was
Yeah.
Barbara Streisand and Robert De Niro, I think.
No,
Whatever.
Robert, the other lady, I remember her pretty clearly. I forget, she's not like a famous actress or whatever. But
Okay.
yeah. But anyway,
So
good movie.
did you leave early or did you leave on time?
Nah, I kind of left on time. Everyone was kind of getting ready to go anyway. So like Falcor, that he came from like New Hampshire, so he left a
Oh
little earlier.
wow.
And then St. George Bear took off not a little bit after that. And then when I left Camera Bear, Maggie were still there, but Maggie was putting her coat on and stuff. So yeah,
Yeah,
it
she had
was
a ways to go to travel.
yeah. But she came, I think she said she came right from work.
Oh,
A
okay.
lot of
Yeah.
people did. Yeah,
Okay.
but it was really cool. Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah.
Anytime we get to go to a bear meetup, it's just like phenomenal because you could just talk and everybody has these interesting things and then you hear them talking and you're like, ooh, this is a great conversation. Yeah. So
Yeah. The whole Felcor thing with the Zentangle, that is amazing.
yeah, it
I
was pretty fun.
cannot believe that.
Yeah, that dude, it's like, I don't know.
I want to
I knew he
learn.
was
I'm
gonna
just like,
say
I
that.
need to like put myself in the space to take the little class that Michelle gave, has on her website. Take the class and just do it.
Yeah,
Just
and
need to
then
do it.
he gave me one of the packets. It's like it has all the directions and it has pens and paper. And after he left, St. George Bear was telling us, or was it's George St. Bear or something like that, right? Isn't
St.
it?
George Bear.
Oh, it is St. George Bear. Okay,
I think
so
so.
he was saying how the paper, because there are these paper squares. He's like, they went to
Yeah.
Italy to the oldest
Wow.
like place that makes paper, and the pens won't leak, or like
Yeah.
when you draw, the paper is gonna suck it up exactly. It's not gonna
There's
like
Zentangle
smudge.
pens, like they're perfect for it. Like
And the pencils are like, it's crazy, like everything they give you. So yeah, I'm very excited about it. It looks really cool. Like it's right up my alley.
totally
So I'm just amazed to
exciting.
see what it's all about and just what they're talking about, like what they have on the horizon as far as, kind of, I guess it's the same thing we do, heal yourself and then kind of provide like a beacon of light for other people. They're using these other tools to do it. And it's like, there's so many people out there that are starting to,
There's a healing process for everyone,
yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly. And there's so many people looking for it right now. So I think that it's a really, yeah, it's a really positive thing. I'm getting excited about it. But anywho,
Yeah. So, well, I will be heading out there in several days. and I'll be out for the week of Thanksgiving, out in Jersey, and we're gonna meet up with Brandon and Carmen, and so far, I don't know if anyone else, maybe Maggie, probably Maggie. And
Yeah,
it's gonna be
that's
good
gonna be
times.
cool. Yeah, you're gonna love her. She's hilarious.
Yeah, she seems funny. You know, you asked me if I earlier before the stream, you asked me if I had ever spoken to her. I guess I've heard her because she sends messages on the Lady Bear chat. So I've heard her voice. So I mean, I didn't detect an accent that was necessarily foreign. But you think she has like a Polish accent?
Yeah, definitely. And I know
Okay.
Polish people too, also. So yeah, I was like, oh, I didn't, I had no idea because I'd only corresponded with her through text before. So it was cool though. And she's grew up in Queens, so we're definitely on the same kind of vibe, as far as like suburbs and like close to a city and stuff. So yeah, it was really interesting and funny. Like the conversations were just so funny
Yeah,
with everybody.
good stuff.
Yep.
So, yeah. Anything else you want to talk about? I mean, we
Well,
were
we had
talking.
those. I was going to say we had those notes if you want to.
Yeah, so we were talking about the episode with Pat Life, Owen Gardner, and Tom Barnett. Did you get to watch all of that? What did you
Yep.
think?
I loved it, other than the technical issues, so we didn't get to hear as much Gardner. But
Yeah,
I think everything works out perfectly for a reason. And I think Tom Barnett got to say some really cool things.
yeah, he did.
He got to, he got a little more, him and Owen had more of the spotlight, but I think it was really good. And I think that Pat Life did a really good job handling that situation, like having a show like that, because it's got to be intimidating and then also hard a little bit, to keep it flowing. So I think he did a good job. But I love what Tom Barnett said, like, especially when he was talking about some people should wear a mask. He's like, some people should wear a mask, some people shouldn't. He's like, if you feel like you don't have to, then you do it. And then also talking about the legal, he's like, I don't give legal advice, because if you got yourself in that situation, there's a reason
Dude.
and you need to get yourself out of it.
Dude, I resonated so much when he was talking about that. I was like, he's so on point. Like,
Not that you shouldn't ask for help or guidance or assistance, but he said people would hit him up and be like, I have this fine, how do I get out of it? Or, I want you to do the work for me, basically.
right. Yeah, yeah. You can't do the work for someone else. I mean, if they are in their situation, it's for a reason, right? I mean, okay,
You
so,
could
and I
assist
mentioned,
them. Like, I would hit up Adam if
right,
I need, yeah.
right,
And that's
assistance,
different.
but not like carrying the burden for them.
Yes. And that's different because also I feel like, for example, I've hit Adam up actually for advice about things, with somebody who was, some credit card was trying to sue me or whatever. So basically my story is I used to have good credit, and then I had bad credit, and then I had really good credit, and then bad a little, and then really good. And 2020 happened. I was just like, fine, you guys want to do this? I'm done. And I just didn't pay any of my credit cards. Like I just stopped. I didn't have a lot, like 50,000. No, I'm just kidding. Like under 10,000, I maybe five, whatever it was. But I was just like, you know what, you guys want to play these games? Fine, you can have your world. And I'm like, I just stepped back from everything there. And I mean, I'm not saying it's the right thing to do, but because my income was cut off and I wasn't going to take government money, I was like, well, the first thing that goes is I ain't paying these guys anything. Like they could come after me, because I know the ways to repair your credit if you really have to. Like there's all these ways. You just mail letters and they have to drop it off. It's like so easy. So I'm like, all right. And why was I talking about this? Did I lose what were we talking about? What's happening?
We were talking about the show, Tom Barnett helping
Oh yeah,
people
yeah.
with their burdens.
So I hit up Adam for help with that. That's where I was going. And he was like, oh yeah, because this one place they said they're gonna like sue me, and my city I lived in actually sent me a thing. There was going to be like a lawsuit. So I sent whatever Adam told me, sent me whatever. He was like, this is what you got to do. So I had to do a lot of work, but he pointed me in the right direction. And he sent me some different like blank forms or whatever kind of thing, or, and it
Templates.
worked.
Yeah.
It must have worked because I didn't hear anything back. I sent it like the day it had to be back, but I got it postmarked, that day. So I know that's like good enough. And I
Yeah.
got a letter like 2 days later saying, oh, since you didn't answer, blah, blah, blah. But I think that was auto generated on that day. And then when they got it, and then the company never even did anything either. It was great. So it just went away and I haven't heard anything. But they never said it was over, but I just never heard anything. And this was like in April. So
There you go.
yeah. And that's the thing. So he feels good because he helped his friend in a positive way help himself. It's just like healing. Whereas the people that Tom Barnett was talking about, they're just like, just fix it
They
for me,
just want
man.
somebody to do it for them. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's like the
exactly.
savior mentality of like, save me, but I don't have to do anything type of thing.
And yeah, exactly. And then the other thing you talked about, which I really liked, is the other part. It's like sometimes you just pay the fine. It's a parking fine for $60.
Yeah.
It's
I
like you
thought that
pay
was
it, and then
hilarious.
you don't even. What's that?
I thought that was hilarious. Go ahead.
Yeah, that was great. He's like, you just pay it. You're like, oh, good for you. And he goes, you don't even do it in a way of like hate or mad or whatever. He's like, here's $60. Good luck, have fun with it or whatever. He's like, that's the real energy. The real energy is when you're like, oh, I'm gonna get this government. I hate them. They're terrible. Then you're just feeding into that battery basically. And they're getting your energy. So yeah, the chat's on fire right now.
Yeah.
Oh, Dr. Dave's there. I was just talking about you. Yeah, great breaking bread with you, Brandon. Tonight was tonight at Bears Giving. Yes, great breaking bread with you as well. And I was just talking about you and your amazing podcast, and it's the only pinball podcast that's not a lefty one,
Not
whatever
gravel.
that means. But yeah, that's awesome, dude.
Yeah. Really cool. But yeah, that stream with all those guys was really good. And I really I resonated with it so much. And I felt like even one of the things I typed in the live chat, because I watched it live, I typed in everybody's getting it. Because it's like making sense to people now. Like just a lot of things are just coming together and making sense. And
Yeah, I see a lot of this division falling away in like word, because Owen talks so much about word spells and word magic and spelling and wizards and all this stuff. People, it's really starting to absorb into the culture, and they're starting to realize that these magic words or whatever they were, that it's just, like somebody says they're a pagan, or, they're into Jesus or they're into Muhammad or whatever. People are starting to realize that, well, at least these people behave the same way I do, whatever talisman or whatever, like, God or how belief system they have, it leads them to this basically path of walking like Jesus did, right? Like, what would Jesus do? So it leads them to this path. So we can all freaking be cool, man. We could be 90s friends, it's like, it's really amazing. And the ones that spiral, like for example, about Paul, like, so say somebody was going to go to this Bears Giving and then they started spiraling about Paul and they're like, oh, fuck, Owen and the Bears, and they left. They're only doing themselves damage, they're not hurting people like us. It's just making it cooler because now we don't have to hear somebody freak out about Paul, at Bears Giving. We're talking about cool things like, like,
Zentangle.
yeah, like Zentangle. Exactly. So,
Yeah. Back to the episode that Pat Life did with all those guys. They were talking about the fear vibration and stuff like that. And that really, it just reminds me of like when I was barely learning about sovereignty back in I want to say like March of 2020 is when Adam and I started looking into it. And of course he's over in South Carolina and I'm here, but we would message each other and talk about all the stuff we were looking into, and came to a place where we finally were like, okay, this is what we're looking at, this is what we kind of want to do about it, and got ourselves involved in in some groups and stuff like that. And so but as like the more I did that, and people were like talking about all these videos where people were getting stopped by a policy enforcer on the highway or on the street or whatever, on the road, and people saying, you got to memorize these scripts, you got to know what you got to say, and you got to know how to talk to them and defend yourself and do all these things, right? And I was like, in my head, I was just like, I really have no desire to sit there and like put myself mentally in a situation and like memorize these scripts. Like I have no desire for that. It doesn't feel right to me. So I didn't do that because for whatever, instinctively, I knew that putting myself in that vibration of like fear or like having to respond to someone like that at that moment was like probably inviting it somehow. Like, and I didn't, like I said, I didn't know that at the time, but now it makes sense that that's what I was doing. Right. So it's just kind of like you and I were talking about this yesterday, but it's kind of like Neville Goddard talks about, like imagining your reality, right? And like it's the feeling is the secret. So if I feel like I'm in that situation, I am creating the vibration for it. I'm creating the magnetism for it, and I'll just magnetize that energy toward me. And so I'll eventually someone's going to stop me, and I'll have to practice my script, right? Whereas I didn't really have to do that because I never even wanted to put myself in that situation. And some people might be like, that's foolish of you. Like, you need to know, you need to practice. And I'm just like, no, I don't.
You
I
need
really
to
don't.
know. How dare you?
Yeah.
I'm just sharing that we're live. Our chat is on Fire Paraplegic in there talking smack, but it's pretty funny.
As
He said,
usual. Just kidding.
because, well, no, what happened was really funny. The stream that so Crow and Jason were just on Owen recently on Big Bear stream, and Owen started talking crap about paraplegic, and Crow was like sticking up for him. He's like, Owen, he's like, stop it. You know, you like his coffee. And
That's
then
hilarious.
so when Crow and Jason got off, paraplegic stayed, or Owen stayed on. He streamed for a little while after, and he's like, all right, he's like, Crow's not here to protect you anymore. It's so funny. Oh, I was dying. Yeah,
You talked
it's so
about him
funny.
on that show with Pat Life, Owen and
Yeah,
Gardner and Tom.
dude, it's the biggest commercial, because like they say, any publicity is good publicity. So, and
Yeah.
Owen will even say, he's like, yeah, I just fuck around, he's got good coffee. But yeah, it's so funny because basically just by talking crap, he's advertising for him. It's great.
Yeah. It's like, I think even Archaic said, like, if people like trash talk me, I don't care because it just gives me more subs
Yeah, exactly.
or more views, whatever. That's funny.
Exactly. Just sharing our
But
screen with some more people. We are live. Get in here. Anyway, yeah. So, yeah. What else from that stream was really good?
I don't remember anymore, but we also talked a little bit about Archaic's stream from
Oh
a
yeah,
day or two ago,
yeah.
where
Tell
he
me about
talked
that.
about so he talked about how he thinks that animals have like a soul, like have some sort of soul to them, but things like fish and reptiles or amphibian, I don't even know what, I think reptiles and fish or something like that, um don't really have souls. And it just reminded me of the law of one, and how you, like, there are densities. So you have like the 1D is the rocks and the water and the air and the fire, right? And then you have, and the ether, I suppose. And then you have 2D, which would be plants and animals, right? I think that's what it is. Then 3D is us, like us living beings, quote humans. But
Men
so
and
what
women.
I was thinking, huh?
I said men and women. Oh,
Yeah,
quick shout
living men
out
and
to
women.
Sammy's in the chat. Trust me, Sammy. I've been like insanely busy. I do want to do a reading with you though. I haven't tried to avoid you. I haven't been avoiding you, but I've been trying to get my transportation situation all set. and a lot of other things. So it's been like crazy. But anyway, but yeah, no, I love you,
Well,
Sam. You're the best. I don't want you to
ca-
think I'm like ducking you.
catch us up on your car situation in a little minute.
Yeah, no,
But
I will. But I haven't even really been on Telegram at all. Like it's been crazy.
yeah.
But anyway, go ahead.
Um, so anyway, it just reminded me of the law of one and how even I can't remember whose content I was watching. It might have been Aaron Abke, it might have been someone else talking about the law of one, but how it's even more fractal too. Like it's even within 1D, you might have like 7 more depth layers to that. And like 2D would as well. So I'm thinking like, what if it's like it's on a spectrum, right? So like insects obviously would maybe potentially be on the lower end, and things like like mammals like dogs and cats and animals that are more like they'll show you an emotional response, like those potentially would be more closer to getting to 3D. Because what Archaics was saying is he was thinking that in order to come back into this realm, it's like a reincarnation type thing, but you can't just come back from nothing. Like you can't come into a human avatar from nothing. Like you'd have to have gone through the levels, right? And that's pretty much what the law of one talks about. You have to have gone through the 1D, the 2D to get to the 3D, to get to the 4D, 5, 6, and 7. So it is like I wish he would like look at the law of one material. I did send him an email with the PDFs because he keeps saying that no one has sent him the content. So I sent him an email. I don't know if he's gotten it or read it, but I sent it.
Oh, you never know.
Yep.
The universe works in strange ways. Could it be?
Yep.
So when we went to record with Rose, she was a little late, which was actually good because Sharon and I got to catch up, but she was on the phone with Crow and she sent us a message like, "Oh, sorry, I'm on the phone with Crow." And Sharon's like, "Oh, no worries. Ask him if he wants to come on too. Haha," or say that to him or whatever. And I just was like trying to picture it, but I have a feeling that maybe it could happen soon or one of these days. It'd be great to talk to the legendary Crow 777, but at least we got to talk to, I mean, not at least, we got to talk to Rose and it was amazing. And she
Yeah.
says she has her own channel on Rockfin where she talks to a lot of the guests that are on Crow 777, but she has a totally different, unique style, like she's more comedy focused and stuff like that. And she's just, I don't know, it's hard to say, very open-minded. You guys will get to see when we get to play that clip, but I should update people on my car situation because I don't want people like feeling bad for me or whatever. It's just so my Tahoe that I took around the country, I got hit in it like a month ago or something. And it's been over a month now. And so they ended up totaling it and the whole process just like took forever. And then so I just had a rental car, which is great. But I've been looking for another vehicle and I've been like not able to find anything or just weird things will happen. But my good friend Joe, who's in here sometime, his grandmother, I believe, is selling a car, and I went to check it out, and it's a Buick. So
That
I think
is
it's hilarious.
hilarious in
It's
itself.
a 92, but it has like only 68,000 miles on it, and it's like been in a garage. So the thing is just like mint blue Buick Century, or not mint blue, but it's mint condition, like a light blue.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say,
Yeah.
what color is it? They
It's
would
like a
not have made a mint blue
yeah.
Buick, I don't think.
No, the boomers would have lost it if they made a mint blue Buick. He says get a Pontiac Aztec. I've been looking for like a Suburban or something like that, but the here in the Northeast, well, there's a couple things going on right now. We're coming off a boom. So a few months ago and like last year, used cars were insanely high priced, and now it's like starting to slow down. So you still have some people that have high prices and stuff, and also there's a corrosion issue because we live in the Northeast. So a lot of these trucks are rusted out, but I'm sure I'll find something. So I'm going to drive this Buick for now until I could figure out the next vehicle,
So
but I'm
you got the
excited about
Buick.
it.
Did you get the Buick?
I didn't get it yet, but I'm in the process. You have to make an appointment now with the DMV, so I couldn't get an appointment till Tuesday. So I'm gonna take care of all the stuff and then just go down there. And I'm thinking about getting a personalized plate that says Bertaria, because then it would be a Buick in like an old school like 92. It's so boxy looking, it's hilarious in it.
That's so funny.
I'm even thinking about getting some like different wheels for it, because it needs tires, and sometimes for cars like that, it's like cheaper to buy like the internet has these crazy sales. Well, maybe they don't anymore, but like you
The
can just get
internet.
wheels and tires sent to you cheaper than it is to sometimes buy tires. But yeah, I'm excited about it. Yeah, and that's the thing too. Somebody said a 30-year-old car may have cheaper registration. Yeah, I could get like classic plates for it or whatever. It's just going to be hilarious.
Yeah.
I used to have a Lincoln Continental, but it was like it was new. It was like a 99 or 2000, so it was like a more rounder body style, but it looked like a cop car. But that was like high luxury. But this thing is a little smaller, but still, it's going to be fun to drive that around, I think. But
I
anyway,
grew up
that's
with okay, go ahead.
I was going to say that's my car situation in a nutshell.
I was
I
gonna
got to
say
meet
I
some.
grew. Go ahead.
Oh, I got to meet some interesting people because I did check out a lot of Suburbans, and like I found this one I really liked, but it was only 2-wheel drive, and I'm just like, I don't know.
What kind of car was it?
It was a Tahoe, or no, it was a Yukon XL. So it's just like the Suburban, it's just the GMC.
But it's not a 4x4.
Yeah, but it wasn't a 4x4, but the thing was like had no rust barely.
Well, then why didn't you get it?
Well, I just 2-wheel drive, and the guy, I don't know. It had, the other thing is it had 200,000 miles on it.
Oh,
So
okay.
not that that's terrible if everything was done right with the car. And if it's that clean, that's a good sign. Because those cars, the Suburbans or even the pickups from 2001 to 2006 were like the best, and they're highly sought after. Sometimes the 2007s and 8s you can get cheaper than like a good 2006. It's crazy. It's like when they really started going downhill with the quality and stuff. So he said, Dr. Dave says Buick mileage is measured in BJ's.
Oh God. Those are Brandon's initials, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. Dude, I'm a BJ in a Buick. I'm a BJ in a blue Buick.
BJS and a Buick.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man, that's so funny.
Terrible.
I got a BJ in a Buick, but it's me. I'm the BJ.
Oh Lord.
Has nothing to do with graphic. My 1998 Lincoln Mark 8 did 13.3 quarter mile. I had 393 RAS. Geez, he had like a souped up Lincoln. Nice. Those Mark 8s were pretty cool. They were like little race cars. Yeah. But anywho,
Tranny?
you were about to say growing up you had a.
Yeah, like we had a Ford Crown Victoria station wagon back in the day.
Dude, we had a Chevy Chevette. Like my family, it was crazy. We had this, my dad had a car too, but my mom got this brand new Chevy Chevette, and it's like this little hatchback. And dude, we drove it all the way down to like Florida with like, I think was there 3 of us at the time? Yeah, there was 3 of us. So it's like this tiny little hatchback, and they just folded the seats down and made like a bed back there, and we drove that thing. Can you imagine? They put like a Big Mac thing on top, and we went all the way to Florida. It was nuts. And we stopped in like Alabama and Tennessee and stuff. So I had a pretty interesting childhood. Like I can't really complain.
Yeah. Yeah, we did road trips too. Like we went down the Pacific Coast Highway and saw the are they sequoias? Like the giant
Oh yeah. What was that like?
trees. Oh my gosh, it was amazing. It was really cool. Yeah, big redwoods, redwood forest, and then the beaches in California. Just lovely. That was awesome growing up doing those road trips.
I think there was something, yeah, dude, we used to do like crazy road trips. Something popped in my head. I think there was something else I was gonna say about the Paul stuff. And then I think we got sidetracked or something, or I
Okay.
got sidetracked. So you're talking about how it's the gateway.
Yeah. I think it is. And people say this, like people in that community, they always say, don't ever question Paul, because the next thing you'll do is deny the Messiah.
It's like they
Like
know.
it's they know. And so people in that community were like, so they would get, okay, I'll just say a well-known person in the community. I won't say his name out of respect, but he had gone down that rabbit hole. But because of the audience he had, because when he went to, and people might be able to guess who it is, but when he went back on his word on the ball, the shape of the ball of the realm, he lost a lot of followers. And he said that if he went down this Paul thing, it was going to happen again, and he couldn't do that anymore. He couldn't lose the audience, so he wasn't going to go back on it. So for a lot of people, it wasn't about truth. It was about what their message was, and they were just going to stick to their message. And that was like, so to me, I'm just like, how can people do that? Like, how can you label yourself a truth seeker and then know that you're looking down this rabbit hole and you see where it's going, and you're like, I can't do it, because then it means the loss of all my following. It means the loss of, quote, money that I'm making from this following. It's wow. Like your ego must be really big to do that.
That's
That's
what I
why.
love.
Go ahead.
That's what I love about Owen and all those guys that were on the stream, Barnett and Topher Gardner, there it is, Gardner, and Pat Life, like his show's amazing. But yeah, that's the thing, they're really just after truth. And what that was going to lead me, I think this is maybe what I was going to talk about, where the truth doesn't need, so if you're somebody
Defense.
exactly, truth doesn't need defense. And if you're somebody who is on the other side of the Paul thing, what I would just say is, like, if you think you have the truth, it doesn't matter if Owen's wrong or I'm wrong or who all these people are wrong. Like, you don't have to defend it. You know, there's no need to defend it. If it's the truth, it'll be
Come to
uncovered
light.
eventually. You know, there's only no, what do they say? Three things that cannot be hidden for long, which is the sun, the moon, and the truth. So
Well, go ahead.
no, that's it. Go ahead.
I was saying, here's the thing about it. It is like the elephant in the dark room, and people are just saying, okay, when Paul says this, it's the truth, blah, 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 blah. Yes, it is true in that, right? And then some other people are like, no, but when you see Paul and he's not even quoting Jesus ever, like, okay, that's true too. He never really quotes Jesus. That's true too. You know, and then it's like, okay, you see that astrotheology is involved in how the scriptures got written. That's true too. So, and it's just like, it's just perspectives, you know, I don't know. It's just like people get so triggered.
Have you heard anything that Owen has said about it?
I have not. I just heard that he's trolling, but I don't know. I haven't heard what he said really.
Well,
I did. I watched a small clip earlier, but that's all.
So he's basically saying that Paul killed a bunch of Christians. He's like, and then he
did. Before he
yeah.
became a Christian, he did.
And
he
he's
was
like,
Saul of
I
Tarsus.
found Jesus in prison, you know, like, yeah, sure you did, guy. Like, and then you just went around to change the whole law. He's like, you know, so that's where he's coming at it from. It's really funny. He's like, guys, I know, like, I had a crazy past with women. He's like, but I didn't murder Christians. He's like, I'm not saying he can't come back from it, and maybe he did, you know, maybe he really did, but I don't know. He's like, I don't have to just believe he did. It's so funny. Yeah. Oh man.
Oh, the clip I saw of Owen, it was posted on one of his Telegram channels. He said something to the effect of like, what did he say? Now I lost my train of thought. Oh, he says, he's like, you know what? If you're a Christian and you don't think I'm a Christian because because I'm talking about this stuff, he's like, then fine, I'm not a Christian. Like, I'm just, forgot what he said. Like, I'm a non-denominational truth seeker or something like that. He's like, okay, so if that helps you, great. Like, Don't think of me as a Christian. I thought that was really funny
Yeah, yeah, he
and
really
really
has a
telling.
way to go after these, because what I see is like there's a lot of parallels, because everybody at the end of the day just has a different blind spot, right? So there's things that I'm probably doing that are people would consider retarded, whatever, right? And but that's my journey and that's my way to figure it out. But if you could get to the point where you realize that everyone has a blind spot, and they're just gonna look that way, then you could let it go. How's their behavior? Does he make you laugh, or when it comes to Owen and stuff? And this is something I was talking about, where like I think we were talking about this at Rose, speaking of like blind spots. If there's like a collective blind spot that everybody has, Dell just said blind spot. A blind spot. If there's a blind spot that everyone has, but if everybody has like this blind spot because of something, we were talking about how it might be able to affect like all of the world or society or just this part of the realm, or however you want to say it. And it's pretty amazing, like, to think that some of the stuff we might have experienced as a collective trauma, maybe it was even like a long time ago, there's a collective trauma, and then it just got passed down, and that's why we're creating this quote unquote debt slave society. And that's why most people are living like this, because there's some kind of wound that happened, and now that voice in the back of their head is telling them that they're a piece of crap and they got to get a job and they'll never be anything, and you have to work for the man and get a 401k or whatever it is. So most people just do it because of that. Maybe it's not even like the Illuminati or whoever they are that set this up. Maybe they're just a group of people who see what's going on and they pass down that information to their kids and say, all right, this is what you do. You sell them the pornos, you get them the pills, like all these things. And in that way, you don't even really have to look at it as a victim. You're just like, oh, I was able to see it and wake up to it, and now I could spread the message like we were talking about earlier. Everyone has a message to spread. Or maybe I was talking about that at the Bear Fest. Yeah, or at the meetup. It's so amazing because these conversations are just like the conversations we have on the podcast that we have. So the collective wound, whatever it is, I think some of us are waking up to it, because really what it does, I think, is put people in a state of victim mentality, like I'm a victim, want to be a member. It's all that stuff. So I think the one common way we could phrase this is, you don't have to be like a Buddhist or like a woke or like whatever label, like I'm a this, I'm a that, I'm a heathen or whatever. You just have to know that, oh man, did I forget what I was going to say? You have to know it's just about like healing. I guess that's the wrong word, or just what I was saying before. All that stuff I was saying before, that's what's more important. It's not about the labels or whatever. So it's
Yeah.
just about, oh yeah, not being a victim. Yeah, that's what I meant. So if you could just share that message or live that message in your life, and then people around you see it, that you're just not a victim, that's like a total upgrade. It's
Huge.
crazy.
Huge. But going back to something you were saying, and something that in the Pat Live podcast that he did with the three guys, Owen, Gardner, and Tom, there was a message that I typed in the live that got pinned, but it was something to the effect of that every person must experience their journey as it is. And, that is what they're meant to experience for themselves. Like everyone is in their own place. Like, and we've talked about this before in other streams, but like you have uniquely experienced your life where you are, and so, and there are like, we don't know all the reasons, right? But like, could it be that you chose to come to this realm for those particular reasons? And so those are the lessons that you have to learn this time around. And everybody has their own unique experience. I forgot why I was talking about that. But yeah, anyway.
About the well, because you were talking about not being a victim, and then you were talking about the comment you made on that Pat Life podcast. But yeah,
Yeah.
that go ahead. You're gonna say
Yeah.
something.
It's just everybody's on their journey, and we can like you said, we can help each other out. This is another thing I was going to say earlier was um and I mentioned it before, but in this book that I read some years ago that's called Boundaries, um basically the one takeaway that I, or one or two of the takeaways, but one of the main takeaways that I had was that everyone is carrying their own little bundle, right? Just like the fool card, he's carrying his little bundle, right? And like you might be walking with somebody carrying their bundle too, right? And say he trips and falls. Well, you're going to help him up. Maybe you have to carry his bundle for a second while he gets up and dusts himself off, but you're not going to carry his bundle forever. Like you're like, okay, you get up, you got up, you're fine. Okay, here's your bundle back. Let's keep walking together, right? It's
Oh,
not
that's
your
amazing.
job or responsibility. There was that other thing that they were talking about on that was like the savior complex, where it's like it's like everybody needs a savior. Somebody needs to save you from something. No. And no, you don't need to be the savior for everyone either. Like you don't need to save the world. Who was I just listening to? I feel like I was just listening to Ram Dass talk about that too. The whole savior complex thing.
Could have been.
Yeah. So anyway,
Yeah,
all
it
related.
well, it goes back to the Paul thing, and people who say that
Exactly.
you're going to deny the Savior. What are they saying? We're not trying to say that there wasn't a man that walked the earth and did the things. Well, quite possible it's that, and it's the allegory that we talk about. It could be both. That's how this realm works, I believe. But are you saying, oh, I could go out and watch pornos and do all this stuff and then just say, oh, please forgive me, and then go back and do it again and do, like what's going on right now with that, again, and that's fine, that because everybody has their bundle, their load, their journey. So it's not like I'm judging people like this, but it's just that we're offering a little bit of like before you start casting rocks, it's like yeah, it's crazy. It's the savior thing. That's what we were talking about, the savior complex. And
Yeah. What's
people want to
funny?
look for
Go ahead.
heroes. Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Will you remember what you're going to say?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I was just remembering that back in those days when I was like going through that and people were talking about it. Like if you start looking into Paul and denying, you're going to start denying the Messiah, and you're going to leave Christianity or whatever. People were creating memes that were like, and stuff saying like, have you accepted Paul as your Lord and Savior?
Oh man, dude, the memes are ferocious.
Oh God. Anyway, what were you going to say?
I was just gonna say how looking back at like society, everybody's always looking for a hero, and then you see on the TV, all the movies, it's all about an external hero to worship, it's all about that. And that's why I really like Tolkien, not to get too sidetracked, but because they highlight the hobbits in the Lord of the Rings. I had this whole idea that like since the Lord of the Rings was written by hobbits and like Bilbo and stuff, I'm like, what if the Ring of Power was a story that Gandalf made up to like get everybody motivated, and he gave this little hobbit a ring, right? And was like, listen, if you destroy this ring, we're gonna win, because he realized that would motivate all the men to get together. Because if they saw these little brave guys doing it, they'd be like, fuck. So all the men would motivate to get together, right? So what if Gandalf knew this and he just gave him a ring, and it really like that, all that stuff with Mount Doom cracking and falling down, and that's what saved the final assault on Mordor, when like Aragorn and everybody got together to go march on Mordor to give Frodo some time because he was like in Mordor trying to destroy the ring. Well, what if what really won that war is all the men getting together and not having fear and marching, and that's what literally destroyed it, because it was like some kind of test, and they just gave this hobbit a ring, and so the hobbits wrote it, and they wrote themselves in like as the heroes. I think that would be a funny like premise to talk about. But anyway, It'd be like, oh yeah, sure, the short guys, like, this is a story for short guys, everybody. Like, no, it wasn't the men that got together and like marched on the evil gate. It was this little short guy that destroyed a ring.
The
Sure.
hobbits and the dwarves. Just kidding.
Yeah, exactly. No, dwarves are stout. They're yeah, they're amazing. But yeah, so everybody looks for an external hero. Well, not everybody, but
Right.
that's what you're kind of given in society. And same thing with a lot of organized religions. They're giving you some kind of savior, or someone else that's gonna do the work for you, just like you were saying with the bundle, but the whole time they're just gonna carry it. But yeah.
Yeah. So speaking of heroes and stuff like that, today when I was listening to Archaics, I couldn't help but think to myself that I know that he really has a good head on his shoulders and the way he's thinking about all of this stuff. But at the same time, the way he talks about the AI or the AIX, which is the alleged negative entity, and the I guess the benefactor, which to me would be a savior, right? Who's going to come back, right? So what do you think about that? Because to me, that still sounds very much like we're waiting for someone to come back and save us. Even though he talks about like, have no fear, because the fear vibration brings about those situations. So, I get that he gets that, but I'm confused as to why he still talks about this AIX the way he does, and this like benefactor the way he does. But what's interesting is that today on that stream, and Mike Winner and Bear Lando were like making really good conversation, really good points. So it was definitely going into a good place, and I recommend listening to it. But yeah, those were my thoughts as I was listening today.
I gotta check it out for sure. I think that's really interesting because it still could be possible that there is, with this realm, there's some kind of return of somebody or something that happens that could be quite possible, but I don't think it's what a lot of people think it is. Like, if you're saving yourself or you're going to be judged or whatever, I think it has more to do with the way the resets work. Because if you listen to what Jason says, he's like, the resets aren't for people like us, they're for the other people. And if this realm was really a place for people to learn, it could be possible that a function of it is resets, where there's a lot of people at that time who are in fear. So maybe they literally manifest their own destruction in a way, and it happens in a cycle of every 138 years. So that's why he's saying it's a machine in the sky, but maybe human consciousness just works on this pattern where every 138 years there's a group somewhere that gets, like Sodom and Gomorrah, like whatever, they're living in fear. There's a lot of sodomy going on. No, I don't know, whatever it is. And it's like in the Batman, the original, oh geez, there's so many Batman. So the first one with Christian Bale, where you have
That's
this,
not the first one.
no, I know, but I'm just saying the first
Michael
one
Keaton, okay? That was the best one.
I totally agree. All I was saying was the first one with Christian Bale. That's all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank
No,
you.
I love the Michael Keaton one. Trust
Me
me.
too.
Jack Nicholson is,
That was the best one.
yeah, they're nuts.
Yeah.
So in the Christian Bale one, you have this secret society that's going to come in and wipe out Gotham City because they're so, everybody's just not living in accordance with natural law, right? So what if there's an actual function of the realm that does that and it works out in that way? So I forgot why I was saying all that specifically.
The AIX is the negative entity, and the savior.
Oh, the savior coming back. Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe it's just part of what happens is when one of these things happen is somebody might rise up, or maybe it's a reincarnation. Maybe it's the next, because under a vapor canopy, if that's what happens, it's going to be totally different. I think that's the actual golden age. So people who now are shunned and outcasted are going to be looked at for leadership or whatever that is, not exactly leadership, but they're the ones people are going to be paying attention to and listening to. So yeah. What were you gonna
I
say?
feel like something that came up, I'm trying to remember. I think this came up on the Alpha Vedic show this morning with Archaics is damn it, I lost my train of thought. Like okay, yes, that's what it was. It was like, okay, so you know how when Jesus came, I'm just making this correlation. Like when Jesus came, the wise men saw the star or whatever, right? So I don't know if it was them that talked about it or if I heard it somewhere else. I'm so terrible now because I'm listening to like 800 things at once all the time. But I felt like there was a connection made to like when something's coming in the sky and you see it in the sky, but does that, okay, so like when Jesus was born, right? They saw it in the sky, but if it's just astrotheology, then it wasn't real, right? Jesus wasn't really born. It's just telling you about a star. So like, could it be that what this benefactor that he's thinking is a real person or something like that is really just an energy or a star or something that's coming astrotheologically that's going to bring about some sort of change or reset or something. But like, okay, here's the weird thing is he mentioned the word harvest because he thinks there was a harvest. I can't remember. So if you watch it, we can talk about it later, but he mentioned the word harvest, which made me think of the law of one because they talk about harvest as well. Once like you've gone through like this, let's say this, the whole 3D and all of our consciousness have gone through this 3D and we're ready to be harvested to 4D, then that's harvest or whatever, right? So anyway, I really want him to look into the law of one. A lot of people want him to look into the law of one, but
It's funny you say that because when a lot of people talk about this place being a soul trap, they'll also use the word harvest, but they use it in a negative context, like we're being harvested. Isn't this terrible? And it's funny because, of course, that makes me think of the Silmarillion and a Tolkien work, which is like the prequel to Lord of the Rings and all that stuff. It talks about the making of Earth and everything, but so you get Iluvatar, who's God, and then he has these 15 aspects of himself who are basically the ones who create through their song. They create this realm, and one of them,
wow.
Melkor, was the strongest one and the smartest and the best, and he ends up turning to evil, and then he gets accursed by the elves way later on, and they call him Morgoth Bauglir. And they said that one of his greatest achievements was to convince man that this is a bad thing. Like their gift of death, that they were given the gift of death because the first children were the elves and they were immortal. So they could die if they're, they wouldn't die of old age, but they could die if they get slain in battle or whatever. And they get sent over to the West, and their souls stay there, but they're still here in Middle Earth. Whereas men, when they die, they depart until the Ainur don't even know. It's like a secret, like only God knows. And so what they tell you is basically, eventually, his Melkor, who is the evil lord or whatever, his greatest accomplishment was to convince men that death was something to be feared and not a gift. And that kind of reminds me of moving up and being harvested, where people are like, oh no, we're going to be harvested. This is a soul trap, where the way you're looking at it in law of one is like, no, harvest means that you're ready to go on. Like when you harvest something in nature, you're going to use it for its next possibility, right?
Dude, crazy how they're
Yeah.
using it negatively and it's meant to be used positively.
Yeah, and that sync with Tolkien really makes me think, because like he somehow maybe was channeling this or whatever was coming through his conscious. He was trying to tell people, like, you don't have to fear death. Like, this isn't what you think it is. Like, we've been tricked by the evil one, like the evil one made you think. Yeah, it's crazy. Because originally in that story, the men would lay down to die, like the leaders and stuff. They'd be like, all right, cool, it's my time, see you guys later. They keep all happy about it. You know what I mean? It was nuts. And then later all the men were like trying to figure out how to live forever. Think about like, the people these days that are trying to live forever and stuff. It's crazy. It's like, no, they were like, later, I had a good time, peace out, like on to the next thing. They were excited to go, it's crazy how it got flipped. And it just
Yeah.
resonates. It like vibrates on all different levels, people that think we're like in a soul trap or something. I mean, maybe it is, but I always say, as above, so below. And I know that nobody was forcing me against my will to take a experimental medical serum or any of this BS. It's really basically all choice,
It
maybe
is.
at a time when the world wars were happening, human consciousness was at a different level and there wasn't as much choice. But now I feel like
But it's
it's,
always free will, though. There's still always a free will.
yeah,
I
like you
mean,
didn't have
maybe
to go
even the
more.
story that's painted to us is telling us that there was no free will and that they didn't have a choice but to, be forced into doing what they were doing. But we know this realm is about free will. So how could it be not free will for them and free will for us?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud.
Or maybe it was just a little different. But I like what you said though about that, because of course we never get the true story in history. Was it as easy as not wearing a mask? You know what I mean? Like there were people who draft dodged the Vietnam War. That's like a famous thing, like a lot of draft dodgers or whatever. But and there's another term. It's like you're trying to get out of this war, and they're draft dodger, and now they look
And
back
they
in
make
history
you
like,
look bad. Yeah.
yeah, just like with the mask thing, you're hurting
Yeah.
people. It's so funny.
Anti-masker or whatever.
Yeah. So maybe in the human collective consciousness, if you're vibrating on the level where you're going along with the spells and everything, at a level you're choosing that in your free will. So then you get in these positions where your town gets bombed or whatever. But maybe if you're not, then a way is provided for you out somehow and you just are trusting your intuition or whatever. And that's what I was going back to say before, is that about a lot of people when they exit the realm and they come back. So these resets, that's what I was saying earlier, and I kind of lost my train of thought. So these resets that might happen, right? All these people. So Archaics is saying the next one's going to be pretty big and a lot of people might be gone, but maybe because there's so many people in this realm at this time exhibiting this behavior, they're vibrating on this frequency and they're just going along with this social whatever. Maybe it's just a reset where they have to be recycled, again, not to be like cold or whatever. Maybe I'm part of that. Maybe I'll die too or whatever, but uh, and then be recycled back into a home that's more like a bear, for example, or, like how crazy would that be? And then they get kind of an upgrade or whatever it is, maybe they hit rock bottom in this life and that's the only way out is through like a catastrophe death or whatever, maybe it'll just do it to itself. Maybe how they say some societies will just collapse and you get like the collapse of the dollar and all this stuff. And it's like crazy. Well, maybe that brings in also a reset function because of the collective consciousness and where it goes. Maybe it gets so dark that it actually like brings something in, it's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, like I was saying earlier about like everyone is experiencing what they're meant to experience in this lifetime. And so like even if maybe there was little bit less amount of free will at a time, like you said, like people were dying in a village because of XYZ, but there was still, I mean, as the way I see things, there was still a choice that you in this avatar made before you came into this realm. I mean,
Yeah.
that's how I see it, at least. Like, so you chose to experience that this time around. So you could make some connections, learn some lessons maybe. And if you did die in World War I or World War II or wherever, you just came back. You're just going to try it again. So it's like nobody really dies. That's another thing. It was like you're just, energy is energy. You're just going to come back. But one interesting thing that they brought up in the Alpha Cast was the alleged amount of people in the realm.
Ooh.
So that was really cool. Yeah, they were kind of both like, yeah, I don't know that there are that many people, as they say.
Billions and trillions.
Yeah, as like they were saying something about like even China, like they've said that there's this many people there, but seems like it's really not.
I think everything that we hear on some level is just meant to affect our, like from the mainstream or whatever. It's just meant to affect your consciousness. Like, I mean, I don't believe any of it. You know what I mean? It's crazy.
Yeah.
Unless I could see it. But yeah, I mean, I know these things definitely happen, but yeah, no, I like that because, that's one level to look at it. Like, you know, and again, you have the physical level where you have to look at it where you still can't just go around killing people because, oh, it doesn't matter. You know, it's like, no, there's still like rules or whatever. But, and also you said about choosing that, I really like that because there's definitely some element of truth to that. And I think it's just something we can't understand. Maybe when we're out of the physical after this death, then it's like a process of being in the spiritual for a while, it just being maybe energy or whatever, and then we get to learn our lessons in a different way that way, or we get to see it or set it up or something. Or yeah, it's so much more empowering than just thinking that you're in a trap and you're a battery.
Yeah.
But
So
see, it's just the inversion, because technically you are a battery, but you're a battery for something good if you want. I mean, even if you're a normie and you're a battery for, you know, Donald Trump or whatever, it's you're still fulfilling the plan of the creator at the end of the day. You know, like it's still, that's another thing with the Tolkien, like in the beginning when the people, the Ainur who created, when they're singing, Melkor sows discord into the melody, and God gets up basically and is like still pleased with it. You know, he's like still happy about it. He's like, yeah, it's still part of my plan. Like, you know, no matter what you do, it's still part of my plan. He's like, suck on that one for a while. You know, like you could go crazy and rage out and become this evil dark lord and kill and corrupt all these people and do the most horrible things. But guess what? It's still part of my plan. You know, it's great.
something else I remembered, Mike Winter was talking about the Alpha Cast. He asked, I don't know if it was like question that came from the chat, but I think he asked Archaics about like, what do you think about like this internal versus external? And I think he was trying to get to this like a savior, like saving yourself versus, I can't remember how it all went, but like I think he was trying to get to that of like this internal savior versus like an external savior type thing. So yeah, I kind of want to go back and listen to it again. It was good.
I like that. That sounds good. Yeah, I'm gonna have to check it out. Maybe I'll go
Mhm.
listen to it after the stream.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of after this stream, is there anything else you wanted to talk about? Because I think we did a pretty solid episode, I think.
Yeah. I mean, we didn't have to go too long. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been at least what, an
About
hour
a little
and
over an hour
45
and a
minutes?
half.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
that's
like
cool.
an hour and 12 minutes approximately.
Hour, did you
Allegedly.
say hour and 12?
Yeah.
We
Sorry,
started
an
with
hour and a half. Sorry, never mind. An hour and a half
an hour
plus
and
12.
45, maybe. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. 42. Sorry. I was not doing
Sure.
the math.
How dare you?
90
I'm gonna
minutes,
spiral.
90 minutes plus 12.
My cats are going crazy over here. It's pretty
Yeah.
funny.
They're probably wanting to go to bed.
They're like, we want attention. Yeah, it's funny because you know how you are with grammar. I'm like that with numbers. I'm like, how dare you?
With what? Oh, you're wrong. You're not adding correctly.
I was like, that's not correct. That's all
Yeah.
wrong math. Yeah, that's funny. I just realized that, but no, it's sorry. I was more saying because I think it would spend longer.
No,
But
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
totally. This is definitely a great spot. Thank you guys so much in the chat.
Yeah.
Paraplegic Bear was hilarious. He said, I was meant to be shot and crippled so that I could make thousands of based people happy with my coffee and comedy.
There you go.
Yeah, go check out Paraplegic Bear's coffee, everybody. I mean, he's got a wrench. Its coffee's got to be good. Sharon and I both drink it, so check it out. And check us out at morelawsmoreproblems.com. You could find this show on Podbean, which puts it on Apple Music and Spotify and
Amazon.
Amazon, all the fun places. So go check that out and look for our episode with Rose 777
In
coming
a
up
couple of
soon.
weeks.
Yeah, should
So
we play part of
next
that right now?
part, if you want to, yeah. So I'm just
I
going to
got it
say,
ready.
like, you go look for something while I say next week is Thanksgiving. It's Thursday night. So I will be in New Jersey with Cody, and I will not be able to be on a live chat or anything like that. So I don't know if Brandon is going to do something, but he might do a Brandon Bonanza live chat
Yeah, that's the
if you
plan so
guys are
far.
open to that. But for me, it's like a vacay day. But roses will come out the week after Thanksgiving. So
Exactly. And
roses
speaking of that,
episode.
here we go. I'm just gonna find a random spot and play it and see what happens. Like, you know, like don't stress out because a lot of them are always like, I got to be doing more. And I'm like, listen, you're
Yeah,
so
you're
far
good.
ahead of it. Just take a lap for a second, take a breath, you know, like, and just so everyone knows, I'm talking about younger bears that are in the community that are working really hard and they think that they're not doing enough. So I'm like, guys, you're crushing. But anyway, here we go. That brings us into the clip.
Okay.
So you look really young in the same way that Jason looks really young. Jason's 49. And so, okay, I don't know what it is, but there's just certain like people that just don't seem to age. Do you did you party and did you party hard when you were younger?
Not, not,
Did
well, see, I joined the Marine Corps, so I drank pretty heavily the first 2 years of that, but then I kind of got sick of it. And then when
okay.
I got out of the Marines, I didn't even start smoking weed again until I did comedy. I was like 36. So I would just drink on and off with friends, go out and have a couple. I was never a big drinker. Like I didn't like to go to the bar and hang out and stuff. So I grew up in a party environment, you know, like I like to say I was raised by wolves. So as I got out, you know, I was just like, I'm kind of over that. So but I also been trying to eat healthy, whatever the hell that means. Like, you know, it's shifted, but I think I figured out something pretty well. But I do feel like I'm going in reverse. I feel also like a lot of it has to do with just the spirituality and stuff I've been looking into. But I also want to say that I'm 6'5". It's hard to tell on here. So I'm like, and I gained an inch. I wrote this in a letter to Owen that he read, and I'm so excited about it since 2018 because I used to be 6'4" my whole life. Now I am 6'5", and I've had it verified. And I wrote it in a letter to Owen, and I told him it was his N-word jokes. I don't want to say it on YouTube. I'm like,
It's so
N-word
funny.
jokes made me taller, and he's like, yeah, it was funny.
Oh my gosh, that is fascinating. Do you think that your bones actually grew, or do you think that maybe your spirituality and it like affected your confidence, which then affected your posture?
Yeah, I think it has a lot to do with that because I've been doing a lot of stretching, standing up straight. So I think somehow it just decompressed an inch, you know, because before I'd have to like go back and try to get measured. So it just came, and I'm hoping to decompress some more. You never know, you know?
Yeah.
Another grow another inch next year.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's possible, right? Anything's possible.
Who knows?
I'm
Yeah.
gonna try and grow another extremity by next year. We'll see if I could. We're gonna see how far mental fortitude can take me.
I
I
was
need to.
just
Yeah.
talking about that. I was just talking about that yesterday, the day before with friends. Oh, yesterday. And I was like, remember the movie The Swamp Thing where he grows an arm? I'm like, I wonder if it's possible for people to grow limbs, you know? You never
Yeah.
know.
Why not? I've heard that it's possible.
What do you think of the mentality that they have in India, where when someone's born with a bunch of different extra arms and heads, that they're like a reincarnated god? What do you think of that? Do you think it's just a misguided something to explain it away, or do you think it's just an ancient knowing that maybe there's something to it? I always thought it was a little bit cruel. Like take them off the pedestal and let them chill. Because a lot, like I see videos of them where like they're just sitting there and people are in line waiting to like give them rose petals and stuff. It's like, do they want to be doing that right there?
Yeah, that sounds more like some form of idolatry, perhaps, you know?
Like the Dalai Lama, like you're born like that, and so now you just have to like live that life. But maybe it's not all of them. Maybe the ones that have money, they just have the extra limbs chopped off at the beginning, like they do here in America, and they keep go on. And so it's really just the poor kids that couldn't get the extra fingers chopped off. And I don't even know why I'm like being so Western with like the chopping off. Like maybe people should be chopping off their extra fingers. But that's another thing that you see in like the Amish. People are always saying that like, oh, look how healthy they are, but they do have the extra finger thing going on all the time. A 16.
Really?
Yeah, that's the one thing about the Amish that is recurring. It's a
I did not
recurring
know that.
gene. Yeah.
I've
Call it
also heard
polydactyly or something.
I've also heard all right, I think that's a good place to stop it. Anyway, you guys get a good little taste of what's going on. And Rose does, I know I talked a bit on that clip, but Rose does talk a lot. So we get to get her oversharing properly. So it's a really good episode. Check it out in a couple weeks. Like Sharon said, next week I will be tentatively doing a live stream. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be doing a live stream Thursday night. But yeah, until then, thank you guys so much again in the chat. You guys are amazing. No Despair Bears in there. Shout out to Quiet Sparky Bear Chris. I went hiking with him recently. Really good times at night in the woods, which is my favorite. All right. Well, what do we say to the good people, Sharon?
That if you're not oversharing,
Then you're totally not Karen.
that's right. So
So
share
keep
on.
oversharing and share on. We'll see you guys next time.
Ciao.
Ciao.